Hi boys and girls, today we're going to talk some more about improper fractions. We're actually going to talk about what to do when we have a sum with an improper fraction, and of course a sum is the answer to an addition problem. So just to review real quickly, an improper fraction is where you have a fraction with a bigger numerator than a denominator. That makes it improper. So this improper fraction I have right here is 15/12, and if I wanted to turn that into a proper fraction, I of course take 15 divide it by 12, and 12 goes into 15 one time, and I end up with 3/12. So I have 1 and 3/12. Well, 1 and 3/12 is in fact a mixed number, and that's correct, but it can be reduced, and we've learned how to do that by taking common factors and dividing the top and the bottom. So when you take 1 and 3/12, actually let's take 3/12, and I think the greatest common factor of 3 and 12 is probably 3. So we'll divide the top by 3 and we'll divide the bottom by 3, and we'll end up with 1/4. So 15/12 equals 1 and 3/12, which actually equals 1 and 1/4. So now let's find out what to do when we're adding fractions together that give us an improper fraction. We have a few steps that we have to take. We now know how to convert an improper fraction to a mixed number, and we also know how to reduce those fractions. We're kind of going to put all of those things together now, and this starts to get tricky because it's easy to forget some steps along the way. So we're going to do this piece by piece and make sure that in the end we have a reduced proper fraction. So let's take 6/11 plus 5/11 plus 3/11. 6 plus 5 is 11, and 11 plus 3 is 14. So we have 14/11. This is an improper fraction because 14 is greater than 11. You cannot have a greater number for your numerator, so we have to convert it to a mixed number. Well, I know that 11 can go into 14 one time, and I know in my head that if I put 11 into 14, I'm going to have 3 left over. So I will have 1 and 3/11 for my answer. Now let's take something a little bit more complicated. Let's take 3 mixed numbers and add them together. First, let's add our whole numbers. So 1 plus 7 is 8, and 8 plus 8 is 16. And then let's take our fractions and add them together. So 1/4 plus 3/4 plus 1/4 is going to give us 5/4, because 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So we end up with 16 and 5/4. But this is not a proper fraction. We have a larger number for our numerator than our denominator, so we have to convert this to a mixed number. So what I like to do in a case like this is go ahead and forget about that whole number for just a second. We're going to come back to it, and let's just work on converting our improper fraction here. So 5/4 equals, well, 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over. So 5/4 equals 1 and 1/4. But that's not the answer to our problem, because we had some whole numbers here that gave us an answer of 16. So what we really have for our answer here is 16 and 1 and 1/4. And when you put all of that together, 16 plus 1 is 17 and 1/4. Once you convert this improper fraction to your mixed number, you can kind of forget about that also. You could even cross it out. Okay, I'm going to solve one more problem for you, and then I'm going to give you your practice problems. I'm going to do 7 and 2/9 plus 3 and 7/9. First, I'm going to add the whole numbers together. So 7 plus 3 is 10. And then I'm going to take 2/9 plus 7/9. Well, 2 plus 7 is 9, so I end up with 9/9. Now, this is an improper fraction because 9/9, well, 9 and 9 are equal to each other. 9/9 actually equals 1 whole. And so what this really means is you have 10 plus 1 whole. So you have 10 plus 1 equals 11. And so that would be the answer to your addition problem here. Now, since this becomes a bit of a process because we're converting mixed numbers sometimes and then we're reducing them, The best thing to do when you have a complete final answer is to circle it so that I know and you know what your answer is and we can keep it organized. I'm going to ask you to do that in your practice problems, and so these are your problems for today. Your first problem is 1/5 plus 4/5 plus 4/5. And your second problem is 15 3/10 plus 7 7/10 plus 5 1/10. Okay, so in both of these problems, you're going to need to convert them from an improper fraction to a mixed number. You're going to want to make sure that they get reduced all of the way. And in this case, over here, you're going to actually add your whole number to your mixed number. So it's going to look something like this. Make sure you circle your final answer so that you and I both know what that answer is. Have fun!